So, Rich, what inspired you to start DocketWorks?
Well, we've been doing marketing for 15 years for attorneys, and a lot of them, experience great success. But I started to see that the success comes with caveats and problems, trade-offs. So we had an answering service for a while, and I saw that our most successful clients were getting more and more current clients calling. And it got to be so bad for some of them that like 60% of the calls were from current clients, and they couldn't answer the phone and help their actual clients and get new ones. So it cluttered up and gummed up the works. So we said to them, you probably need some help, extra paralegal help, extra legal assistance, whatever. And a lot of them were just happy with the success. Oh, I'll handle it. Things will slow down at some point. So they kept going, and it really hurt a lot of the firms, their own success. So I see that lawyers really should take a zigzag pattern, or like a staircase. You get more clients, you do better marketing, you come up. Now you got to level out and service them with more paralegals or legal assistants. Then you can go up again, and then you can service that level. It's not going to be like a straight shot up. It's not going to be all over the place. But if you don't address these growth pains and these stages, you'll be successful that you may actually go bankrupt and fall apart, or be miserable working 100 hours a week and everything's out of control. So that's the reason why. If we're able to provide marketing and help people grow, I want to help them now, not just leave them, but help them on the next part of their journey. So that's why we came up with, having outsourced paralegals.
How would you say that these outsourced paralegals are international licensed attorneys? How do they change the game in that zigzag pattern that you're talking about? What's the pain point, and how do the ILAs solve it?
Yeah, the pain point is attorneys are starting to fall behind. If you were, let's say a personal injury, and you've got 10, 15, 20 cases going at any one point, you have hearings, for them, you have to produce documents, you have to request information from the doctors or the treating physician, you have to speak to the clients themselves, you have to work with the insurance companies. It gets to be tons of paperwork, tons of different things pulling at you, and you get busier and busier and busier. And you're supposed to answer the phone for new clients, and you're supposed to be involved in the market. And so your own success, again, makes you busier and busier and busier. You can't do everything. And we've had attorneys that have missed hearings and have been what they call sanctioned by the courts. Monetarily, they've been fined. Their reputation has been damaged because of it. The attorneys that are really successful, if they stop answering their clients, obviously the clients get pissed. But the point is, you can miss a hearing, you can miss a court date, whatever it is. You're going to get more bad reviews. You're not going to be able to get any good reviews. If I pay you money as an attorney and I have to fight to the death to get you to call me back, I'm going to be pissed off, and I'm going to be looking for other attorneys maybe to fill the work for me. Or I've had this happen personally. I had to go to court for like a traffic matter, and the attorney that was supposed to be there didn't show up. So another one showed up. I said, "Who are you?" "Oh, I work in so-and-so's office. Don't worry, I'll take care of it." "Okay, we got to be in the courtroom in 10 minutes. Do you know what's going on?" "Oh, let me look through the file." And I was just like, it was really, really unsettling, because it's a huge deal to you as the client. To the attorney, who cares? But that's because these people just don't have the assistance. So a good paralegal or legal assistant or whatever it is can do 10 different things. They can help draft motions and other documents for you. Yes, you got to look them over and approve them, but they can help take a lot of the work out of that. They can help with e-filings. Your e-filing system may have certain parameters you have to do in order to accept the documents, or you may have courts that want paper filing, and this court over there may want it double spaced with blue ink and 1.25 inch margins. And if you don't do it, they're not going to take it. So all this stuff starts to add up, and if you don't get help and organization, you're going to be like a chicken without a head, and your practice literally could fall apart. At the very least, you'll be miserable.
We've definitely both seen that, listening to the calls from the answering service, speaking with attorneys in their content interviews. There's a lot of stress associated with just keeping work moving. And I'm curious too, you talked about how beneficial it is to have a paralegal on board. What's the difference between hiring a paralegal and hiring a DocketWorks ILA?
Yeah, I didn't address this yet. So when we started thinking about this, I thought, all right, if we get people in the U.S., there's not really going to be any room to make a business out of it. People in the U.S. are notoriously hard to hire. They want good wages. Inflation has been like crazy, so you got to pay them a lot. They may need sick leave. They may not be a good worker, etc. And I don't want to pass that on to the attorney clients. So I said, we work with a team overseas for 15 years. Maybe we can have people overseas. And then the idea came to me, well, there's no such thing as a paralegal overseas, but there certainly are attorneys. And an attorney would have a much higher level of knowledge than a regular paralegal. So I checked with our counsel, and he's like, "Oh yeah, definitely good thinking." He's like, even if they're not trained in that practice area, they pass their equivalent of the bar. They're actively practicing. and they're just going to have a ton more training than someone you pick off the street and train them. So I started looking at rates, how much they charge and all that, and we found a number of countries where the rate is a lot less than the US. I said, all right, let's offer these, we call them internationally licensed attorneys, ILAs. So we started offering it and we got really great feedback. Attorneys were like, wow, this is a really good idea. So that's what we've chosen to focus on. So again, you're getting someone that is a lawyer. And we've asked these people too, why would you do this? You think, why would someone do this if they're an attorney? Well, we've got one guy, for instance, Mohsin, in Pakistan. He said when he gets international experience, he can go to the higher courts in Pakistan. He can operate at the highest level. It's very prestigious. So that's why he wants the experience. So this is very beneficial to him. He comes in at a much lower rate. I think it's approximately half what a paralegal in the US would be. He's got a good work ethic. He's doing really well. So it's a great opportunity for him. And all the ILAs we got are really, really appreciative of the work. Some of them work part-time, some of them work full-time, but it's just, so far it's great, so that's why I'd rather use them.
Talking about, how they're appreciative of the work and they're so qualified, much more qualified. These are practicing lawyers who are licensed in their home countries. Their level of expertise is far higher than you would find in any paralegal or legal assistant, to be sure. That being said, we take a lot of time to make sure that we're giving them comprehensive training on US systems and state-specific laws before they're actually plugging into the practice of one of our DocketWorks clients. Can you talk a little bit about what that training process looks like and how we get ILAs ready to just step in completely prepared on day one?
Yeah, good question. When I think of hiring someone, I don't want to train somebody. It's going to take all these hours. What if they're no good and I wasted all my time? It's really, really annoying and frustrating. So I'm trying to think for our clients, how can we take all the burden off of them? So I can't do 100% of the training, but here's what we can do. We could train them in the practice area in the particular state. That's not a problem. We get them a subscription to Westlaw or Lexis so they can do legal research. We hired a paralegal firm that's been running for about 12 years, a lady named Julie, very nice. She did a whole series of videos on soup to nuts, everything you need to know to be a really good, effective paralegal. Again, she's been running an agency for 12 years and has done it. So we have that training. That includes how to do filings in that state, if they're e-filings. That includes the CRM. We may train them on Clio or Best Case or Law Panther or whatever it is. So we're now asking the attorneys that we work with, what are all the softwares you use? Do you use one for billing and time tracking? Do you use one for, again, client management? So we'll train the person on 3 or 4 of the softwares the attorneys are already using. So now they're getting someone that's been through law school and knows how to think. They're able to do document drafting because they almost all have experience with that. They've learned the rudiments of the practice area already. They learned how to do the filings. They learned how to do the CRM, all that stuff. The only knowledge left now is how do you run your office in particular? What's the uniqueness of you, which no one can train on, and maybe a little bit about local courts. If they have certain requirements that are arcane or, unusual, you'll have to train the ILA on that. But other than that, I would say 90% of what they need, they come onboarded with ready. And it's customized to what you're already using. So you don't have to change software or any of that stuff. So my goal is to provide people at a better cost than anyone, more highly trained than anyone, so lawyers love it. That's my goal. Is I want them to be like, this is awesome. I love this.
Yeah, talking about the real benefit of that too, like you were saying, whether you're running a law firm or a small business or medium-sized firm or a large business, the onboarding and training process can take so long. And you don't know while you're in the middle of that, if the person that you're investing all of this time, resource, and money into, how long they're going to stick around, what their level of efficacy is going to be like once they actually get into the swing of work. What have you seen in terms of how our ILAs partner with firms and what they're able to deliver on those fronts, just being able to come in and start the work right off, as opposed to some of the stories that you've heard maybe from attorneys that we're hearing from who are more involved in that hiring churn?
Yeah, again, I'm just being brutally honest. I don't like to call, my bank. So one of the criteria is the person has to be, I would say, at least 90% fluent and clear and easy to understand in English. If they're not at that level, forget it. And we've got some people that you can't even tell that they're overseas, which is really cool. But that's like the first criteria. The second is they have to have a good reason for wanting to do it. Lately, we had one person, a real young person, and I said, well, why do you want to do this? They're like, well, whatever. I think it'll be great to do. And, done. Bye. Interview over at that point. If you don't really want to do this and you have a good reason, you're never going to be able to do this job. You're working with lawyers. This is very serious. It's not a joke. You're dealing with people's lives, under the law. It's very, very serious. Doesn't matter what practice area, let's say it's an estate plan. 10 years from now, it could mean the difference between you inheriting or you being disinherited, for instance, or criminal defense, obviously, jail or no jail, family law. What if you never see your kids for years because your attorney didn't do a good job? So I understand the seriousness of it, So again, high fluency in English, cultural knowledge, a good reason. So some of the ILAs, they want to eventually come to the U.S. and be lawyers. What's better than to get experience with an American law firm, and then X number of years from now, you come, much easier to onboard and do that. Some people want to come and maybe be a paralegal in the U.S. or whatever the reason, or they want to work in the higher court, etc. So we look for all those things, and that's a great start to the person that will work for the attorney. At least they're there for a good reason. And again, people overseas have a really good work ethic, so they're happy, and it's just a virtuous circle.
I'm curious what you have heard to be some of the objections that maybe attorneys who are interested in the service but don't have a full picture of how it works. What are some of the objections that you've heard from prospective clients?
A lot of attorneys want to do it, but they're afraid. How many hours will I need this person really? 10 hours a week, 40 hours a week. We made a calculator. We have a list of 10 different things a paralegal can do, from intakes to document drafting to client management to, whatever it may be. And we asked the attorney, just fill in this paper. So how many times a week do you do this activity? And then how long does it take you? So I draft documents every day, so 5 days a week. It takes me a half hour each, and I'm doing, 10 of them a day. So you add up that time, it comes to, let's say, 8 hours a week. And then CRM management, well, that's 2 hours a week. So you fill in this whole form, and at the bottom, it'll say 15 hours, 30 hours, 50 hours, whatever it is. That's about how much time you could save with an ILA, and that's about how much time you need. So we made just a simple one-page calculator form. Do you use that, and that'll give you a really good idea on what your ILA can do for you. Because a lot of people may say, I need help, I need an assistant, but they don't know what to do with them, literally. And if you don't plan, they come to your office day one, now you got to teach them, and you're like, do this. All right, we'll have you do this. I don't have time. I have my assistant help you, and they're not prepared. So the calculator helps them to do that. Very simple. So that's one thing. Another, we've had people say, I don't want to deal with a staffing company. Well, we asked why. A lot of staffing companies, they're certainly not going to provide licensed people. They're not going to vet them to this level. They'll charge fees up front for placing them with you, their entire first month's salary or, this many thousands or whatever. We don't do that. We do charge a little bit for training, but we're training the person so you don't have to. And besides that, there's no fees. So we set up the system again and make it really easy to onboard the person with the least effort possible. A lot of firms still, even after everything's gone virtual and COVID and all that, they still want someone in the office. Sometimes there's sensible reasons, but sometimes they're not. Like attorneys like, I need, someone to notarize stuff. Well, there's notarize.com. I've notarized stuff at like 2 a.m, right before I have to go to sleep. I talk to the person to notarize and get it done. I've called in mobile notaries for various purposes, like real estate. If you ever buy a house or sell it, you see them sitting in Starbucks with somebody. It's a notary, sometimes. So they'll come to your office and do that. You don't need someone to sit there all day in case they need a notary, which is like a $5 thing. So that's not needed. If you want someone in the office, they have to have a desk, a place to sit. You're going to give them the keys to your place. Do they lock it up? Do you lock it up? You got to give them stuff to do. Again, they take up space, not in a bad way. You have to deal with all the employment law, unemployment. They have to go on leave, if they get sick. We take care of all that. We deal with all the employment side issues and everything, and the space. So these people are competent. Why have them in your office? You don't need it. Let's say you have a home office. You're not going to have someone come to your home and sit there in your living room and type away or whatever. But a lot of firms still want to do it the traditional way. I understand maybe you want to have a greeter at the door or at the front desk, but that person can be doing only that. Maybe for the legal work, now you get all virtual people. Why not? There's nothing wrong with it.
Right. And I've heard from a couple people here at DocketWorks too, that they've even spoken with attorneys who will take the model where, a paralegal will be hired so that each attorney in their firm has a paralegal in office right there. But then once the workload of that paralegal reaches a certain point, they will get someone working remote to come in and provide support services. That way, you can constantly be upping your workload without having to take on these bloated costs associated with a bigger office and more seats and all of those kinds of things.
Well, this is what's happened also at DocketWorks. You get someone really talented, half of their job or 3/4 of their job ends up being menial stuff. You want to free up that talent so they can do more in your organization. So you want to get them an assistant. You want to get them another, let's say they're your main paralegal. You want to get another one that'll help them and do all the, the work that they would do that's tying them up so they're free to do higher level work, to organize stuff, to finally get the CRM in shape, to finally get that marketing campaign going you've been wanting to do, or that lunch and learn or whatever it is. So that's really what's going to take your office to the next level. So eventually, again, you have that person. If they're good, you build on them and build on them and build on them. You build this organization around you. Everyone listening, if you think, when Steve Jobs was alive with Apple, what did he do every day? Did he solder a circuit board? Did he answer the phone? Did he do anything? He couldn't do anything in the business. All he could do was steer the ship. So he'd be in big meetings with all the top people. What's going on? All right, let's do this, that, and the other. But in the business, he had 0 time to work in it. 0. And that's the way you want to get with your law firm. You don't have time to work on it, but you don't need to do anything. You only do the very top, most important things. Everything else gets done for you. So as much of your time you can enjoy and do higher level things. I told my son recently, I said, look, he's 18. I said, when you work, if you're in a good job, maybe 30% of it will be really interesting and fun. If you're in a bad job, 10%, 5%, but you're probably not going to get beyond that. But at least we don't want to be, again, working 40, 50, 60 hours a week on stuff we hate. Why not do, if you're successful, especially, treat yourself and do the higher level stuff? You can further advance and make more money and have a lifestyle business. It's possible.
I think that's a really interesting point you made too, about firms that maybe already have great relationships in place with paralegals who are in office. Getting a paralegal for your paralegal, allows that talent, like you said, to be freed up so that that person can take on all the things that really move the needle and help you to do those things as well. And when we're talking about bringing in someone to do these tasks that could be repetitive, it's the work that needs to get done, but it's not the work that takes as much creativity, perhaps, or as much leadership or thought leadership, Having somebody come in to do that at a price that allows you to reinvest the extra costs into more forward-thinking initiatives or anything else you might be interested in, and at a level where you're confident that the work is getting done correctly, so that all of the foundation is solid. Again, that's one of the benefits of having an ILA in this position, as opposed to just someone that you're hiring for grunt work, so to speak. This is like a licensed practice attorney who has just as much in the game as you might, albeit from an incredibly different perspective, who wants to do that good job, who you can rely on to make sure that everything runs smoothly so that you can focus on the big stuff.
Exactly. If you've been an attorney for 5 years, you've done your share of drafting and all this other stuff. Can you see yourself doing that for the next 40 years? You're going to like certain things in your practice and not like others. Probably getting new clients, for some attorneys, it's like a rush. Yes, I just got a new retainer for $5,000. Now I get paid for it this month. Or, I'm happy I got new clients. I feel good about myself. Oh no, now I have to service them. This actually happened a lot during COVID. A lot of attorneys couldn't go to court. So once things started being relaxed and courts wanted people to come back in, now the attorney has a huge amount of back work. And they're trying to get new clients too at the same time. And they're like, no one wants to do the fulfillment. No one wants to pay the credit card bill after you get the item in the mail. So this can help reduce that, so you don't burn out. And again, you see your family, and you're not just working constantly. And what's the point of that? So it just allows you to be more human. Really, if you encapsulate everything, you can have a better business. You can better take care of your family, and instead of slaving and working yourself to death. Who cares if you make a lot of money if you have no time to enjoy it? I mean, really. And if you don't do anything to change your situation, if you don't like it, it's not going to change. Time's just going to pass, and you're going to grow older, and you're going to be like, man, I should have done something about that. So I think getting a paralegal and getting a help and growing the business is really, that's what you need to do. Even if you only want to do the legal work, you can still put yourself in a position where you're only doing the stuff you want to do, making your day better. Again, being more of a person.
it's really one of those ideas that we've talked about. It's like, make your practice work for you, not the other way around. You have to invest so much time and effort, and you have to really care a lot, I think, to go through all of the hurdles that it takes to become a practicing lawyer. And especially if you're running your own firm and you're a business owner on top of that. I think a lot of the people that you've heard from over the years, I mean, you've been working with lawyers for, I think, 15 years, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
Yeah, November now, it's going to be the start of the 16th year.
That's awesome. I am curious, over those 16 years, we talk about all the effort that it takes to become a lawyer and, be in this world. It takes a lot of effort to do what you've done as well, and to look out for attorneys and find opportunities to not only help them practice better, to make their firms work for them, but to, find enjoyment in their lives, to be more human, like what you were just talking about. When did you realize that was something that you wanted to do, and why is that important to you?
What, be more human and not just work constantly?
Well, yeah, and like specifically helping attorneys to find that path. You've dedicated, a huge part of your career to that.
Yeah, in the beginning, so okay, I can make an entree there. So I started providing DUI leads, and then I realized, well, we're only helping with this one small part of the law office. How about we expand the offer? So DocketWorks is just a further expansion of that. Now after being around attorneys for so long, we worked with close to 2,000 of them, tons and tons of practice areas. I've interviewed a lot of them in the beginning, so probably at least 600 of them I interviewed. I get to know more and more about what their life is like. I'm not an attorney. A lot of people think I am, but I'm not. But just knowing them for so long, it's like, all right, I'm seeing a lot of them are having a problem with, let's add on an answering service. Oh, they're having problems with staffing. Let's add that on. So that's what's happened over time, is to be like truly full service, to help an attorney no matter where they are, improve what they're doing and have a better career of it.
Over the years, is there a specific story or experience that you've had that really sticks out to you as that time where you felt incredibly successful in your effort to try and help people do that better job and have that better experience practicing?
In little ways, like during COVID, we told everyone right away, make sure you put on your website, yes, we are open for business. Here's how to contact me. A year and a half out, like 3 or 4 lawyers emailed me, called me and said, oh, thank you. We were freaking out. We didn't know what to do. We just did those few things and it really helped. We really appreciate it. Of the various things we've done like Speak a Book, where we make books for attorneys. So one guy I know, he attributes well over 100,000 in additional retainers over the first 2 years of him using the book. That made me feel really good. I've done direct mail for DUI, actually. One guy in Pennsylvania, he told me in the first 2 months, he got about 30,000 in extra retainers because of it, which was really cool. I don't understand why you'd have a company or produce something mediocre. Like, why would you have a restaurant that just produces slop? What if you made knockoffs for a living of purses or something? So, I know as attorneys, people really want to do a good job. And if I can help them do a good job and help other people, then I'm contributing to society. Like, why make garbage, or why just do the bare minimum? So I guess that's what makes me happy, is I try hard. I'm always thinking of the attorneys and their clients. How can we make stuff better?
No, it's awesome. And I gotta say too, I think that really comes through in working in Speakeasy and in DocketWorks as well. Like, the culture of the organizations that you've created is so strong. Genuinely enjoy coming to work and have great conversations with the people here, and being able to get under the hood of that vision. Let's make things better everywhere that we can and really support people, is something that's really great to be a part of.
Well, good. I'm glad you're happy about that.